Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. I'm so pleased that you're here. Welcome to our new subscribers, and thank you to you for pushing play on another episode today. I know you are probably sick to death of hearing everybody's ideas about reflecting on 2020 and getting ready for 2021. Those of you who are in my groups, you have access to your very own intention setting workbook. So you can just jump into our private practice hub and go and grab a copy of that. It's about 30 pages long, and it's going to give you all of the good stuff that you need to help you create your North Star for the year ahead. So that's all I'm going to say about closing off the energy for last year and getting ready for this year. I guess one of the things that I was actually reflecting on from my private practice coaching perspective was I was thinking about all of the women that I got to work with last year. And I was thinking about, what do they all have in common? And is there a common thread or a common theme? And then I expanded that to look at, things like comments in groups that I'm in and email questions that come through from time to time. And I guess the thing that I realized was that a lot of the people that I've been working with are in established private practices. More recently, it's people who are new and they're setting up their private practice. But in the past, it's been people who already had one and they were coming to me because something wasn't working out. And it's great that people want that kind of support when things aren't working out. And I love helping them correct things, But I guess in my mind, prevention's better than cure. And I see what these women have gone through, some of these women have gone through in terms of needing to course correct with the practice. And it came about as a result of not having essential basic foundations in place first. I think what happens is as counselors and psychologists and social workers, maybe we finish our courses and we go and work for somebody else and we're employees first. And then what happens is we say, well, I would really like to go and start my own practice. And so we just kind of don't do much research. We don't do a course. We just kind of ask our friends how they did it, and then we just do it, don't we? And we don't even really give it another thought. And some of the things that women in private practice say to me is, I say, oh, how's it been going up until this point? And they say, I've been winging it. I've just been winging it. I've just been asking people, what they do, and I've been trying that. And then they come to me, and it's because those things aren't working. They're not working for them. And now they've got themselves into a bit of a pickle. They're really stressed. And it's come about because they don't have, essential basic things in place, like the right processes. And even in saying that, it's not about, you can buy processes and procedures and things like that. I sell them. So it's not about that. But I think if you want to take it deeper, you can absolutely learn how to write your own. And that's something that I love helping women with as well, like writing their own practices in a way that aligns with their values. You can absolutely go and buy templates, but they might not fit for you if you have a different way of approaching private practice, or if you have a special group that you work with. So you will need to tweak and tinker with them, And I guess what I often find myself reflecting on is that if there had been some kind of course in private practice that allowed women to learn before they started or at the beginning of their journey, what is essential in terms of how to set it up and what you actually need, then everything else would just be so much easier, and they wouldn't be coming for help putting out fires. Because this is the thing, like with a 90-day coaching program, like what I've been offering, I still do offer, a lot of the time people come because there's a problem. It's, a problem's happened with a third party referrer, or a problem has happened with burnout, or a problem has happened with not being able to turn over the money that they wanted. And they're busy. They've got a private practice and they've got clients and they're busy. It's not about that. But they're under a misapprehension that that's running a successful private practice. Being busy means you're successful. And it's not that at all. Success is different. How I define it's going to be different how you define it. But it's because they didn't have things in place to support the practice right from the outset. And so what's happened is they come to me and they're overwhelmed and they're exhausted and they're tired and they're going home grumpy and they don't want to be around their family, and then they feel guilty, and all these emotions kind of come up that aren't very comfortable, and they start to question, their decision to enter into private practice. And you know what? Sometimes I'll say to people, hey, what's your plan for next year, or what are you going to do next year? And people will say, oh, I'm going to go and do a course in EMDR, or I'm going to go and do a course in CBT advanced skills, or I'm going to go and do a course in hypnosis and stuff like that. And I think, really? Because it's amazing to me that as women, we place such a strong value on upskilling our counseling skills, but we place no value on developing or obtaining business skills. And I think if you really want to have a private practice that, nourishes you and fills you up and feels light and feels easy, so that you can use those skills with hypnosis or EMDR or CBT advanced or whatever it is that you're doing, you absolutely need to invest time and energy and money in learning how to build the practice, right? And I don't mean scale the practice and attract a big team or anything like that. But as a solo practitioner, you need to understand the business side of private practice. And I think this is often overlooked. And then what happens is, down the track, things go pear-shaped, and then you come for coaching or something like that. And it's like, how do we fix things? And so constantly in fixing mode. And fixing mode, the approach I use to support people is very powerful, and they get these big shifts, and it's very transformational, and it's a beautiful process. It's also kind of sad in a way, because I would love to be helping women learn the business side of the practice first and prioritize that first, because without those things in place, it all kind of goes south. And I don't know really where this thinking comes from, that we need to be investing money and we need to be investing time in doing all of these PD events and PD courses. People say to me, oh, I don't have time to invest in the Business Brooklyn, or they'll say, oh, I don't have money to invest in the Business Brooklyn. Yet they'll see a course for hypnosis or something and it's $3,000 and it's going to take 6 months, and they quickly enroll. So there seems to be a misunderstanding of how to prioritize the business of running a private practice. Yes, of course you need those skills, and yes, of course you need to be doing professional development. It's a requirement for all of us, isn't it? But what's going to happen if you don't actually understand the business side of the business? I mean, do you understand the processes that you need to have in place? You don't know what you don't know. You only come to understand that there's a gap when something goes wrong. Do you understand what KPIs are, like key performance indicators? Do you understand what they are? Do you understand what needs to be measured and how to measure it? And do you understand the value of doing that and why it needs to be done? Do you understand how to track your money correctly? And do you understand why it's important to do that, and how you can make your practice simpler and easier when you do it? Do you understand how to set up the diary? And do you understand how to use the practice management software that you've purchased in a way that maximizes all of its functions? including automations, so that you can simplify the business of the practice? Do you understand what you need to be talking to your accountant about each month and each quarter? Do you understand what 100 questions you need to ask a new accountant before you hire them? Do you understand the legalities of private practice? Do you understand what your insurance covers and what it doesn't? Because here's the thing, if you're calling yourself a coach, you're probably not covered by your insurance. So unless you've got a qualification in coaching. So there's a whole lot of business elements to running a private practice that you are probably not aware of, and you don't become aware of until things go wrong. Somebody makes a complaint, somebody's not happy, somebody wants a refund, so you need to understand the essential foundations of private practice, because when you do that, you develop your competence, and with competence comes confidence. And imagine how differently you're going to be able to show up in the practice as a confident private practice owner that knows everything that she needs to know about her business. Because this is the thing, we're trained in how to be therapists, and we're trained in, person-centered therapy, and we're trained in counseling, and we're trained in assessments and all of these beautiful things. And we're trained in, working our light to help people and guide people and support people on their journeys. And we do that really well, don't we? And so we just kind of are under the illusion that that's enough. Like, that's what a private practice is. And it's not. If you're going to run a private practice, it's a business. You need business training, and you need business training in private practice. Okay. So I think another way of looking at this is to, future pace, and imagine that, maybe it's 12 months on, or it's 5 months on, or it's 10 months on. 10 months. Imagine it's a year on, or 5 years on, or 10 years on. And I want you to really take a moment now to just think about what you're celebrating with your private practice. What are you celebrating? It's going to be different for everybody, but I want you to really think about that for a moment. And then I want you to think about who you needed to be in order to get to that place. Who did you need to be as a woman? Who did you need to be as a private practice owner to get to that place? And did you need business acumen? Did you need to have an understanding of the business side of private practice? And I bet the answer is that you did. And so now I want to ask you, what is it that stops you from doing a course in learning about the foundations of private practice? What is it that's stopping you? Because I think some of you think it's not a priority, and that the priority is in going and doing the hypnosis course or the EMDR course. And I think that's where you're getting a little bit misguided. You can go and do all of those courses, but at the end of the day, if you don't know how to run a business, it's not going to work. You need to have both. So you constantly investing in upskilling your therapeutic skills is tipping the scales, isn't it? Instead of making those scales balanced, you're tipping them, and you're not giving attention to the essential parts of business. And so I want to ask you now, with this new awareness, this new recognition, if you're still feeling resistant to learning about the business side of private practice, where is that resistance coming from? Or what are you saying to yourself? Because you understand cognitively that it's important and it's necessary. But is it that you're not feeling it in your heart? Is it that it's more exciting to go and do the EMDR course or the hypnosis course or whatever course it is? Is it that that's more exciting and that's more appealing and that's more attractive, and business is boring? Is that what's going on? Because here's the thing. When you're learning about the business side of private practice, I think depending on where you go, it certainly doesn't have to be boring. The different trainers will give you different approaches, and my approach is about connecting in with your feminine energy, balancing that feminine energy with your masculine energy, creating space, anchoring this into your soul's purpose, helping you identify what your soul's purpose is if you don't know, creating processes and systems in flow and in alignment that you feel connected to and that are enjoyable for you, right? So it might just be a matter of finding a private practice trainer that's going to teach you in a way that you connect with, if that's what it is. If you don't prioritize learning about the business side of the business, then you may end up in difficult situations with the business as well. Like, last year I got to work with there was an influx of clients that wanted coaching with me because they were completely reliant on Medicare. And for a while there, that was an issue. And so they wanted to all release Medicare. And so, because they didn't have that good understanding of business, they were completely reliant on one source of income. And then when that source of income was taken away, look what happened. There were women in private practice that closed their practices because they didn't know how to run one without Medicare. I'm just giving you an example. I would also ask you to think, what are you avoiding by not learning how to run the business properly? What are you avoiding? Is it that you're thinking that it's going to be hard and you don't want to do it because you don't have time or you don't have energy? Or are you thinking it's going to be boring? Or are you thinking, well, there are other things I could be doing? And do you know what? There are always going to be other things that you could be doing. But I want you to really ask yourself, what am I avoiding by not learning how to run the business properly? And how long can you keep that up for? How long can you keep up running a practice without knowing how to run it? Okay. And yeah, it's really about thinking from the end in mind, thinking about, what you want to be celebrating in the end and where you want to be and who you had to be to get there, and really tuning into that. And so if any of this podcast has made sense, and I know it's not a sexy topic to talk about, and, it can sound quite dull and boring, but it doesn't have to be. And if you're open to having a look at what it looks like to learn about the business side of private practice in a way that's really soul-based, then I absolutely invite you to just go and read the page on my website about what the training can look like. Just go and read that. If you do nothing else, just go and read that. And if you have any questions, come and see me. And, if you enroll before the 9th of January, I can also give you a discount code. So just send me a little email, say that you heard about this on the podcast and you'd like the discount code, and I can absolutely pop that in there for you too. Okay. All right. So I guess today's episode was really about just trying to emphasize that it's not just about spending money this year on upskilling your therapeutic skills. We know that you're great at therapy. I guess as your coach, I wouldn't be a very good coach if I didn't say, hey, there's this whole other side of private practice that you're ignoring or that you're avoiding, and come with me. I'll hold your hand. We're going to go through it step by step, and you're going to feel so much more confident and competent by the end of it if I didn't tell you this, okay? So thank you very much for listening. I will put the link in the show notes. Hit pause now, go and tap that link, and all I want you to do is just read it. You don't have to do anything else, just read it. But if it sounds interesting, of course, send me an email. Happy to give you a discount code, and yes, we can go from there. Here's to your massive success in 2021. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.